My name is Mark Vink. I'm an instructor here at the Liberty Bell Georgian Judo Club. So in 1961, my dad took me to a judo club in Asbury Park because he had done judo as a young kid, and he thought that it would help me. And when I got there, I fell in love with it.
I'm Lori Pierce. I'm Carla Gilbride.
I'm Justin Chan.
So I started judo in 2001, and then I did judo for like 7 years, and then took a break, and then just recently got back into it about a year ago.
Okay. And how about you?
I did judo when I was about 11, 12 years old, and then I took a very long break for about 23 years, and then I started again 6 months ago. 6 months?
Same with me. When I was a teenager, about 14 or 15, for about a year. I took like 8 years off, and then I started back in October, so about 5 or 6 months ago.
I started at a USABA sports camp for blind vision impaired youth, and I saw different sports there, and I saw judo, and it looked like something fun, so I started doing judo.
When I did it as a kid, I was in a police athletic league recreational judo program. I was actually the only visually impaired kid in the class, which was fun in some ways, but I think a little bit challenging, and so it's been great to do it now as an adult with other visually impaired and blind students, and also instructors who are trained in working with VI judoka, so I've definitely learned a lot in a short amount of time.
I started at the Florida School for the Blind. There used to be a program there, and so I did that for a year at the Florida School for the Blind.
Just learning how your body moves and how your opponent's body moves, like the directions of off balance, and how you do one thing, what reaction does that cause in the other person, it translates to all sorts of other sports and athletic things that I do, and thinking about sort of awareness for self-defense. I think it's just really useful for things outside of judo, so I enjoy that.
Pretty much just, I enjoy the sport as a whole. I also like the progression. You have a goal, you want to get to the next belt, or you want to learn some new throws or new techniques. So definitely the learning and then the progression throughout the sport.
So my major competitive accomplishments include having competed in 3 World Masters Championships, having obtained a gold in one of them and a medal. About 2 or 3 years after I had been doing judo, I was able to get up to New York City at the New York Athletic Club, and once a year there they run a big tournament where they take the 10 best competitors from the South and they fight against the 10 best competitors of the North. There was a Japanese man there, his name is Unesca, who became one of my instructors later on. And he fought the winning team of 10 black belts. And before he fought each individual person, the announcer named the throw that he would use to defeat his opponent. He used that throw and he threw 10 guys. Teaching folks with disabilities came to me accidentally. I was injured in a competition several years ago, and I was approached by a person who was looking for a judo instructor to help out. I went to his club in Philadelphia where he had all blind students, and I was able to meet those students and ran into a couple of them that had just incredible potential. Started working with them and really liked what I was doing. So we had an athlete, his name is D'Artagnan Crockett, who we had found 4 years ago. He was an athlete in Cleveland who had a friend who lost both his legs in an accident. He carried his friend around on his back, acting as his legs, but Dart is blind and his friend could see. One of the difficulties in working with folks like Andre, who was the student that we had here, is Andre is completely blind. So you have a range of blindness. In our sport, you have what's referred to as a B3. A B3 is a person that would have some blindness, like an albino. His blindness changes with the weather conditions and the environment. Some days they can see a little bit better than others. And you have a B2, whose vision is getting worse, but can still see, but is legally blind. And then you have a B1 athlete, a person that lives in constant darkness, sees almost no light at all. And these folks are the most challenging athletes to work with. I was lucky because I was able to get a first-class seat up in right behind where the pilot flies the plane. And it's very quiet up there, and there weren't a lot of folks, and I had a 12-hour flight ahead of me. And behind me was a fella who was a sailor. He was in a wheelchair, and you could see he had sores on his side and his legs. And he had, I think, 3 attendants that were working with him. And he was very weak, and I was able to talk to him, and he had a condition that I couldn't tell you, but he was going to his final Paralympic Games. He had been there before. And he was a sailor, and I wished him well. And he went and he won his gold medal sailing because he understood the wind and how to control his boat. And just coincidentally, like 6 months later, I was reading the New York Times, and it mentioned his name that he had passed away. It just was, it's emotional. You meet a guy like this, and you see him following his dream, and you see him, suffering. You see him go out there, wins his medal, and then finally you read about that he passed away 6 months later. And these people are so inspirational, working through hardship, that some people that are able-bodied would throw in the towel and say, "The hell with it," What's the sense? When you experience that and you see what these folks do, it makes you a stronger person.
It's thinking on my feet in the context of a fight. It's one thing to sort of learn a technique and do it in slow motion in a controlled environment, but when you're actually just trying to get an advantage over someone else, figuring out what moves to make is a continuing challenge.
Gaining the experience, enough experience to know how to move people or how to get the kazushi and get the throw, a clean throw in. Just learning how to fight in general.
Mark Smith. I'm from Burbank, Washington, D.C., on the Maryland side. I teach at the VA Medical Center in Washington, D.C. It's a Wounded Warrior unit. It's got blind and low vision athletes through the Visual Rehabilitation Clinic. Also a couple cognitive disabilities for post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injuries. It's like night and day when you get a beginner and get them going, and then all of a sudden they can realize that they're a lot more. They achieve what they can achieve through their own capabilities that they never knew they had. It's huge. So it's a big piece of that, I think, is when you can teach them a throw or some kind of technique that they use in the tournament, their first couple tournaments or whatever, and they score with it. You really feel like that part of that score is yours.
Liberty Bell Judo has never in any way would ever charge any of the blind athletes to come and practice at our club. It is our pleasure to have them here, to watch them develop into judo and do the best they can as they progress. And that includes police officers and veterans. We have never charged any of them to come to our club.